All right, and we are live.
Okay.
Coach Straub. I don't even know if I could ever call you Bill. You're always Coach Straub.
Yeah, it's interesting that, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I'm 51 years old, and if I talk to my high school football coach, it's Coach. My high school baseball coach is the principal up at Northern Highlands.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I'll just pop into the office. His secretary will be like, can I help you? I'd say, can I see Coach Ochino?
Yeah.
And he went to school with his daughters and all, and I'm like,
oh, yeah.
She's like, Coach Ochino? I'm like, Mr. Ochino?
Yeah.
And then he can, Billy, come on in, sit down. So, yeah, it's whatever. I appreciate that, and that's a respect thing. But
it's a respect.
Whatever. It's sort of the same.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said other. Like it feels like Bill. I don't think I could call you Bill. You're coach. You're always going to be my coach. And it was, so you're 51. You were 34 when you coached me? Well, even younger.
When I was an assistant, I was 28, whatever, when you were a freshman, 29.
Wow.
I guess, right? Actually younger, maybe 27.
That's crazy,
when you were coming in as a freshman, right? That would
make sense. That's crazy. For those that don't know, Coach Straub coached me all throughout high school. And then my senior year became the head coach, where we won a state championship. First year, it was a pretty good introduction to head coaching.
Tough life, because I've been chasing it ever since. It doesn't come that easy, but it was special season, special kids, special team.
Yeah,
and it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And then 17 years later, we're here. You're now at New Milford.
Head coach of New Milford.
Let's get into like your story, because I know we talked a little bit before this, and you're like, I got a million questions for you. We'll get into that too. But yeah, I'm curious, like, what got you into coaching? You played ball in high school, and then what got you into coaching? You always want to coach, or?
I guess whatever, family situation is what it is, and always played three sports. At the time I was growing up, you couldn't start in kindergarten. So I started playing baseball right away. As soon as I was 8 years old, I was able to get on a team. But football and basketball organized in Fort Lee, you couldn't start till you were in fifth grade.
Mm-hmm.
But from the time I was in fifth grade, I played three sports all the way through high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was an average athlete, second team, like nothing special, nothing. I wasn't a college recruited athlete or anything like that. Blue collar family, mom worked 3 jobs to support us. And my work ethic, I would definitely say came from her. Dad had gotten sick and stuff like that. So, saw that, and then, graduated high school and was working my summer job, and came to, September and was like, can I stay on? And I was working with the town DPW and stuff like that. And ironically, the town garbage went on strike, and I was working for the recycling, picking up newspapers, clean, no problem. And spent like 3 weeks as a garbage man for the town. And, God bless them, and they get paid well, and they work their butts off. But they said the strike was coming to an end, and I walked into my boss's office, and I was like, I'm not going to be in tomorrow. He's like, what's the matter? I'm like, I'm going to Bergen Community, and I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Again, a noble profession, but just wasn't for me. At that time, I immediately started coaching some like rec basketball teams in town and stuff like that. Enrolled at Bergen Community, played baseball there, whatever. Ironically, we talk and things like that, and a good friend of mine was actually my coach. He teaches with me, Mike Lepresti, now at Fort Lee High School, and a guy who was your coach, and I don't call him Mike, I call him Coach Lepresti.
Yeah.
And, I spent 3 semesters there and still thought I was a hero, had a little bit of success at Bergen Community, went to William Patterson, and didn't make the baseball team. Wasn't nearly as good as I thought I was, and got cut. And at that point, what am I going to do now? Just be a student? And I called a good friend of mine, sort of like my mentor from where I grew up. He was a bunch of years older, Tony Albro. He had just gotten a head coaching job at Woodridge High School. And I reached out to him, and I'm like, hey, Tone, I didn't make the baseball team. It's, the spring. What should I do? I want to coach. And he's like, Tony always is somebody that, looks out for people's best interest. He's a superintendent at Woodridge High School now. And he hooked me up with my high school coach, Coach Dowling, in Richfield High School. And he's like, it would be better to learn under him. I'm a first-year coach. I'm not going to have time to, mentor you the way I would want you to. So go under Coach Dowling. So that first year, I coached at Richfield High School. We were 0-8 going into Thanksgiving. Coach Dowling was great man, great coach, but a disciplinarian. And he was throwing kids off, building the program he wanted to. And we won on Thanksgiving. We beat Weehawken in a rainy Thanksgiving Day game that's not even around anymore. And awesome. We were 1-8. Kids were excited. We finished the year with 19 kids in the program.
Wow. That's tough.
And, and again, now the off season's coming. I'm still coaching some rec basketball because I hadn't gotten a high school job yet. And Coach Dowling called me in February and he's like, we're going to Belleville. And I was like, Coach, where's Belleville? And he's like,
not that far.
Exactly,
you don't know it back then.
But your environment, you don't know.
Paramus felt far.
Yes,
when I was
exactly. And again, to go a different story, I remember when I was in high school and I was able to go watch other teams play. I remember my dad saying, you don't know how to get anywhere. He goes, the only place you know how to get to is Westwood. And ironically, that's where I became a head coach. He's like, because you just get off Forest and it's one turn. It's easy. You know how to get to Cliffside because it's right there. So I went with Coach Dowling and we spent 4 years at Belleville High School. I had tremendous experience. I played tight end and defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it there. And he's like, you're going to do the quarterbacks. I was like, Coach, what? It's like, get to work. Yeah. And that's where I sort of learned clinics and didn't have as much YouTube access and emailing coaches to get drill tape, calling and reaching out, and went with it. And I wound up, that's how I became a quarterback coach for you.
Wow.
Like my second year, my first year, I did wide receivers and defensive line. That was sort of the easiest transition, but we were going into a new place and that's what he needed from me. And that's what I did. Wow. So after 4 years, his family decided to move down south. And he's like, I have a friend in Bergen County that I've worked with and, you want me to reach out to him? I was like, yeah, definitely. And that's how the saga began.
Is that friend? Is that
was Joe Gambardella. Coach Gambardella was still at Riverdale. Yeah. And I got set up in an interview and, I thought it would be like this. We're going to sit down and talk. And I wore, a jacket and a tie and he made fun of me for it. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And, we sat in the weight room while he supervised, kids lifting and yelled at kids and, taught kids. And I was like, what is going on here?
I'm curious, what was your first impression? Because he's one of the biggest personalities I've ever been around in my life. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Vito's close. Yeah. But Vito's only that personality, I think more of in a coaching aspect. Vito's not that way.
Whereas Gamby is
that way all the time.
In life.
And he, my first reaction was, who is this guy? And what mafia does he belong to or whatever?
He's got the look.
And I'm like, holy cow. Yeah. And, he had the buzz cut.
Oh, he was
the cartoon and all that.
It was like a stereotypical thing.
And he always told me the one thing I said there is, I'm a football coach. I don't coach football. And that was one of the things I said in my interview. And he said, that's, sort of stuck with him. And I coached 1 year at Riverdale and a lot of people ask me, you've always moved around, and maybe it's because the guys I worked under. So after 1 year, Gambardella called me and he's like, we're going to Westwood. Wow. I was like, all right, I know how to get there and I know where that is. And
I remember
we spoke and I was going with him. I wasn't ready to apply for a job or whatever. And it was interesting because when I got to Riverdale, that was a well-oiled machine. We lost in the state playoffs, I think 14-7. To Wayne Hills. The Olsen boys were there. Wow. The quarterback was playing on a torn ACL. We opened up like a 50-yard toss for a touchdown. We're winning, and that's where, I was like, holy cow, this is pretty crazy. Yeah. And this is an environment I love. Yeah. I had coached at Belleville. We weren't very good there. I coached at Richfield. I told you in high school, I think 3 wins was our most. So I had never been around winning. And we got to Westwood and, 0-4 to start. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, this, that was maybe the best 0-4 team in the history of high school football because our D line was BJ Raji.
Yes. I was going to say it was that year. So,
we started 0-4 and that's, I owe Coach Dowling, Coach Albro and Coach Gambardella so much for my career, but that's where I learned you are who you are. Don't change. And even through that time, Gamby wasn't changing. We stayed our course and we wound up winning our next 6. And then, things rolled. And then in that third year, we were state champions, 12-0, great team,
Yeah.
you know, great students, great people, you know, just unbelievable. And then I was teaching at Bloomfield in the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bloomfield AD is like, you know, Bill, we need an assistant here. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you know, I coach there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you need tenure and stuff. Like, he didn't strong arm me. Like, I don't think they were firing me, but
Yeah. He's trying to give you like
I was trying, you know, and I got it. And, you know, what you learn is your teaching salary pays your mortgage, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you love coaching.
Yeah, but you know, the
Yeah.
$8,000 versus your other is not paying your bills.
Correct.
So I sat with Joe, and you know, I coached at Bloomfield, and it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were putting a new offense. Coach Carter, another great man, has been there. I think he's the longest tenured coach in Essex County currently. Great time, but you know, I remember saying, Coach, I need to cut out of practice in November, and drove to Hopatcong, and unfortunately watched your that year lose.
Mm-hmm.
And it was heartbreaking for me because I knew you guys and cared so much about you. And then that season came, and Coach left.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I wasn't ready to be a head coach, but why not give it a shot? You know, before that, I want to say Elmwood Park had been open, Fort Lee had been open.
So this is my junior going into senior year.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I wasn't there your junior year.
I remember when he sat us down. It was at I think the captains. Would we even have had captains at that point? I don't know. I remember being a few of us in the Kettler locker room, and he told us that he was leaving, and we were like,
yeah.
What? And I remember your name coming up. I don't know if it was amongst ourselves or if it was something. He probably wouldn't have said it.
Yeah, he wouldn't give me credit. He would never give me credit.
I don't know.
In the letters he writes private on the side, he would have gave me credit.
There was rumblings of sorts, or a thought, and then it spewed into like, you know, what's it called? Like rumors, you know, and we're like, well, if we could have a guy, we would love Straub.
It would have been I think, again, I don't know if I was the most qualified. I mean, I do know the names of who applied. It's not up to me to say that here, but I don't think I was the most qualified for that job, but I think I was the smoothest transition.
Yeah,
I knew you guys, and the cool thing was, you know, your sophomore year, I always did scout stuff like that, you know. So I
really knew us,
you know, so I really knew you guys that way, and it sort of went from there, and it was grueling. It was a 4-interview process.
Really?
You know, I've interviewed for some jobs, and, you know, one interview, hey, thanks, want to offer you the job.
Yeah.
4, I kept going, and, you know.
What was a hot spot? At the time, I'm imagining Westwood coming off of.
Yes.
You know,
so
there was, people wanted
that's
to
what
be
I mean.
Westwood.
There was names that wanted it, and there was names with experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there was a push from the community for me. Like, people knew who I was.
The kids. I think the kids played a part. I mean, I don't think it necessarily played a part in like the outcome, but there was definitely a push from the team.
Coach
that
Doty
knew
was the AD at the time before Ms. Benevento took over and all that.
It just felt right. It felt like the right thing. And I know for us, it was, you know, we're going into our senior year and we're thinking like, you know, we have a great program. We have a great, we won. That team that lost when my junior year, that team that lost, we thought
State
was
semis.
and we thought that was the most, how talented they were. We thought that was like going to be another year. It didn't turn out that way, but like we had a comfort, we had a good thing, and to throw a wrench into our senior year, like I remember being a little bit
times,
like, God, you know.
Again, my high school career, baseball, basketball, and football, I played for 6 head coaches.
Wow.
Every sport, I had a different head coach at least once in varsity.
Wow,
so
that's crazy. That's
my
tough,
football
though.
coach left after my sophomore year, and then Coach Dowling came in. My baseball coach, same after my sophomore year, where Coach Ochino became the head coach, and basketball was my senior year.
Wow.
Coach Ziamba, who still coaches, you know, at Emerson, and so it's not easy. So if there was a person who understood what you guys were getting into, I think it was me. Yeah.
You were good. You were a very smooth transition, and that was the first. Our senior year was like the first time I really felt like I got to know you.
Yeah.
You know,
again, when you're an assistant, you do what you want. Maybe I took you guys to breakfast or whatever, like something like that. But you were smooth. You had this chill calmness about you. I remember like how I viewed you. It was like you were the cool coach. You know, you and Renshaw to me were like the cool coaches. You know, everybody was fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but you had this like chill energy about you. So I remember not really getting to know you until I had to get to know you. You know what I mean? Talk about a chill staff.
Renshaw,
what a staff, me, dude. O'Melia,
Turner,
and Coach Turner all worked under Gambardella. So when you want to talk chill staff
God.
to the, you know what I mean? So, you know, we sort of understood that. And, you know, the transition when you say from him to me, those guys couldn't have made it easier, the staff.
Yeah.
Like they just bought in, okay, now he's in charge.
But it was a huge difference.
Oh,
energy wise, it was a huge difference. Like we kept the energy in regards to how we approached the game, like the kids
and the work ethic.
It was always
all that kind of
stuff. But as far as who was at the helm, you or like you're talking to very different people.
ends of the world, no doubt about that. And it was, you know, it was as smooth could be. I think that, man, I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what were your thoughts like going into the season? Like, how were you feeling? It's a big thing.
You know, a nervous wreck. Like again, I think I sort of am pretty good at exuding confidence, but I think internally we all have that. Am I really the right guy? I'm replacing a legend who's won state championship, who's built programs, and now, you know, I'm taking over. I haven't really, what have I done?
Yeah,
you know? And, you know, I called the defense or whatever, but it was still Joe's defense. I didn't design anything. I know I watched the Cord one, and it took you 30 minutes for you guys to start talking about me, but I'm going to get a little earlier.
Let's go.
And, you know, I listened to Coach Cord and, you know, Dave, Coach Cord, whatever we want to call him, talk about how he worked under Chuck at Ridgewood. Yeah. And, you know, I know Coach Johnson, I remember applying for a job there and getting told you don't have enough experience for a teaching job here. So, you know, and sometimes when you work for somebody like that, you just do certain things, but it's still theirs. So like, I didn't design the defense or anything like that. Coach Gambardella did everything. And then on game day, I signaled something in. We had great players and pretty much didn't matter what I signaled in. We were good enough to do it.
Things didn't shift that much in regards to schemes.
No. And if you come watch us, you know, like today or my Fort Lee teams, you know, we're not double tight. But we have a little bit of a package of that in now.
Yeah. Because it's what's familiar. Or?
I think it's what I'm comfortable in. It's what I believe in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we're an I team. We're a two-back team, and we want to run the ball first, and except we go shotgun.
Yeah, and
so
it's crazy.
So it's not like, you know, oh my God, we're still running power, lead, like wonder what they're going to open with.
But it's so different nowadays. Like watching football, high school football now, especially like Westwood. I mean, it is night and day. Like we didn't throw the ball. You know,
that's a great one. So I want to say like 2 weeks ago or something, I bring you up. I want to say your Rutherford game.
Okay,
your senior year. You might have been 1 for 2. 58 yards, 1 touchdown. You hit dump pass, the tight end, Curtis ran into whoever.
It was.
And that was it.
I was a 3 for 4, 1 for 5, 2 for 6.
And I said to him, I'm like, he's like, Coach, are we going to throw in team today? I said, no, we got to, work on some run stuff. And I go, man, if you played for me at Westwood, and I started telling him, he's like, wait, 1 for 2? And I was like, he's like, on a drive? I said, no, that's the whole game.
The game.
I said, he probably threw 70 times in 12 games, if that.
Maybe.
And
average.
But again, we had 2 all-county running backs. Like,
there was
am
no
I an idiot? So
I don't even ever look like. There's times I think about it. I'm like, oh wow, but it would have been really, really cool to sling the rock. But for me, people don't know this. I didn't even I played quarterback growing up.
Tight end, maybe.
So my story with quarterback is like I played quarterback when we were young. But fourth grade was the last year I actually played quarterback. But I was a guy, so it was like I'd play quarterback to throw or I'd play running back, right? And then by 6th grade, I was always going to be the quarterback because I was always behind Colin, right? And then
they didn't need you at running back because Taylor was behind you.
So then my 5th grade year, I wound up going back. I was the backup to my 6th year. My 6th grade year, they came to me and they were talking about like, I was such a utility guy and could play anywhere. They were like, would you play the line? Would you play tight end? Would you just fill a void because we still ran the ball so much? Nobody really threw the ball that much growing up. And so I always said, yeah. So my 6th grade year, I didn't play when I was supposed to. And then my 8th grade year, JT wound up playing quarterback and I played like fullback and line.
Gotcha.
So when we went into high school, I loved playing quarterback, but I always had hands and I, figured, probably if I don't have enough experience to play quarterback. I'm just going to go in and try to play tight end and see how it works. And then concussion, goes on vacation, and one of the, I think it might have been Castellini. Castellini was like, has anybody ever played quarterback? We got no other quarterback.
Good old Castellini. He's another laid back dude.
I see Cass from time to time. He's a man. But I raised my hand, and they're like, all right, Padula, you're going to, Go do it. And I was like, all right. So I went through freshman year, wound up playing tight end by the end of the year because Anthony came back. And I go into sophomore year, tight end. And Gamby, at the first time really being around him like that. And he saw me throw a football. And he was like, what position you play? And I was like, tight end. He goes, nah, you're a quarterback. And that was it.
That was it.
So I didn't really have much experience. I didn't care.
Then you went to freshman basketball.
Yeah.
Is that where Sam?
Sam was a year older than me.
Didn't Coach Turner call you Sam?
Oh, yeah, Sam.
Sam, right?
To this day.
Probably to this day.
To this day.
I haven't seen him in a while. I gotta read it. But yes, I'll never forget,
Sam.
Maybe right before the state championship, me just trying, messing around in the coach's office.
Yeah.
I think we lined the seniors up. And Coach Turner, what's his name? I don't know. Coach, what's his name? Sam. Coach, our starting quarterback's name is Maxx, not Sam. Oh, I know his mom, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
His mom's name is so-and-so.
Sam was from freshman basketball.
Freshman basketball. When you guys used to hide, you would run 400.
He would fall asleep.
Yeah.
We'd run 70 suicides
Because you missed foul shots.
Yeah, and we'd be gassed. But he'd be sitting on a bench. He'd be sitting on the table, right? And it was Dennis Scott was the assistant, right? So you'd be sitting on a table and he'd be like this, and you would just see him nod. And the second he nodded, there'd be 3 of us that would hang out in the alcove. Yeah.
He had the ability. We had a broken chair in our office. And I don't know how he sat on it, but he could get himself parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yeah.
And be like, Coach, you're going to break it. No, I'm not. All right, whatever. Then one day I come in and he's sitting in my chair. And I'm big on chair. Coach Gallione, Coach Morrow, we used to lunchtime, lights went out and we napped. I had older guys in this, this is great. This is the coolest thing. 5 minutes, you eat your sandwich and the rest of lunch, lights out, it's nap time.
Yeah.
And, if Coach Morrow wasn't out running 30 miles or whatever he was doing.
Always.
And one day I come in and he's sitting, I'm like, that's a comfortable. She's like, this is great.
Yeah.
Next day I come in, I sit and the chair collapses. And I'm like, wait a second. I was like, Coach, you broke my chair. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So,
no, I didn't.
And again, we were talking beforehand, I don't know, I'm weird. I just remember weird stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that and stuff like that. But, Westwood was different.
Westwood was different. And shout out to Turner too, because I know he had whatever the situation was and not being there anymore. But what he did for that program.
Oh,
if you look back at our time and before our time and then into our time and a little bit even beyond, it was a run heavy
it was
offense.
He was the line coach.
He was the line coach. And our line was
always great. Huge
and just very good. Pushed people around. And that's a testament to him and eventually Amelia, how it was passed down, and Amelia coming from the pro. We just had such a good thing when it came to coaching the line and preparing a run heavy offense.
So that year was nuts.
Nuts.
We rolled.
We had 4 guys coming back too.
To this day, I don't forget losing to Tenafly. I know it's whatever fumble, and we still almost scored. And I do remember this. Al may not remember, but I remember standing, and one of the things I took from Gambardella is who led the line for the handshake. Usually Joe would never say it, and I've sort of grown there. It's usually your player of the game who helped you. And I remember Al, he was crying, and they were running around Tenafly like they won the Super Bowl.
They were.
They were playing We Are the Champions, Rocky, all that, and they were running rampant. And I remember putting my arm around Al, and again, he may not remember this, and I said, if there's a God, we will see them again. And finally they get lined up and we shake. And then you guys may not even know this. So I exchanged film with Pascack Valley. We were supposed to play them in round 1. So me and Coach Nielsen, we met, we exchanged VHS tape and PowerPoints. We were tied with I don't know, whatever happened, it wound up that we were playing Tenafly in round 1. And we were sitting there. I already had exchanged film because that's what we figured.
Well,
they didn't have that. We didn't tell any, we didn't do any of that.
Well, why would you?
It didn't matter. And, then, we wound up getting Tenafly, and you guys were as juiced as ever.
Yeah.
And I think they were a mirror image of us. Coach Holman just took the head job at Park Ridge. I was sitting with him at the preseason meeting, and they were a mirror image. They were just a physical, tough, good defensive team. Coach Calise, who, stopped by New Milford and stuff like that, was their D coordinator. And they had tough kids.
They were tough and big quarterback, big arm.
And, we won a great game there.
That was
like that playoff run
it's unbelievable.
Was not. I think that was 7-6. I still have that picture
7-6
of Johnny and JT blocking the extra point.
That's that article has made its rounds.
And I remember sitting at the county meeting with Coach Holman because 2 league representatives went, and he was putting his kicker up, and he was like, 48 for 49 on extra points, and I just went. And he's like, "Don't even say." I was like, "All right." Like that was.
I remember hearing that. Yeah, that was his only.
Yeah, I think he went to Monmouth.
He was a big time kicker.
Maybe was his player or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. And then we rolled in Mawa.
I have a question for you with the Mawa game because I remember you coming in prior to the game and you were like, they either posted something or they put something up in.
That was Valley.
Was it? I thought Mawa talking like they were going to beat us 30-something to nothing.
No, that was, yes, because they used to be in the NBIL.
Yeah.
So coaches, like even to this day, the NJIC, which is where New Milford is considered the smaller school conference. And there's a bunch of teams are playing crossovers with the Super Football Conference, which is where Westwood is.
Okay.
And, this conference is better than this one. And the BCSL American, which is what we were, wasn't really a Group 2. The NBIL was bigger because Mawa played Pascack Valley and the bigger schools and this kind of stuff. And that might have been Gamby who was poking me a little bit, telling me because I can't remember. Mawa had a legendary coach, been there 30 years, who stayed on as an assistant under Coach Remo, telling me that he saw him at a diner and they're getting ready for Pascack Valley. Will be in the finals, a rematch and stuff like that. And we rolled.
We rolled.
And I want to say that was a Max Padula coming out party.
It's probably the 4 for 7. Isn't that crazy?
4 for 7, 3 touchdown passes though, right?
Like 4 for 7 for like 170 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Here's the question I'll have for you. And again, maybe I'm crazy that I remember this and you don't. Power pass, the fullback always went to the flat.
You talking about Al?
Al split cover 2 and you hit him.
So here's the thing with Al.
So is that something that was talked about in the huddle?
No,
Al just, you were like, I'm throwing to Al no matter what, and he went down the seam?
I don't remember looking at like I'm throwing to Al specifically, but because we had options. He was supposed to be in the flat and you had the tight end,
and then tight end over top.
So I didn't think it like I'm going to throw to Al. There was nothing open to the right. And I leaned so heavily on Al. I leaned heavily on Kurt. Like those are our 2 guys where I threw when we were throwing the ball. Like,
I leaned heavily on Al too.
Yeah, we all leaned heavily on Al. So anytime something was broken, I'm looking for him, and I happened to just see him. We rolled right. He went left, and then ran a seam.
What we were just talking about before we got on video. Like, he had something.
His feel for the game was different.
He just had something different, and
we had a connection. I mean, Al was like, even playing the position, I mean, he probably led our team in catches and receptions, which is ridiculous because he played.
6 people that might watch this, they know who Al is, right?
Yeah, 6 people. Anthony Lasanti, we're going to throw it out there.
in case there's somebody else out there that's going to somehow figure it out. But he was
unreal.
He was something different. And I remember, and that's something I've probably carried with me since that day or that night. Like, I love to tell my kids that I coach, like, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And I've grown to love coaching linebackers. And I'm like, this is the perfect way.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it your way as long as you make the play.
Yeah.
If you don't make the play,
then play.
I'm either ripping you or you're out.
Better do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So I think that was something that I think we did that twice. I think twice we covered 2 safeties, and again, covered 2 safeties. We weren't throwing the ball 7 times, so get somebody in the box. But we rolled, and then
the Valley game was crazy.
That was like nothing.
It was crazy.
Nothing I had ever experienced as a coach. I know we won it.
That was a wild game. And those are kids that we played against.
You guys knew them forever. Like you knew all.
You figure you're never going to play them in high school, but you have such a history with them because you played them all throughout Pop Warner and growing up. And and they were good. I remember.
Here's what I would say: 100 times, maybe 10 we beat them.
Yeah, I agree. I think
they had 9, 10 kids that played college football.
They were loaded.
Like the fullback, the big kid, he was a monster. Like
Malvey, you had Malvey, and he was a great linebacker. You had McAvoy, who obviously McAvoy being McAvoy.
Yep.
The running backs were all hurt.
Yep.
So the Williams, Danny was a stud.
Yep, like
Gray was a stud.
They were
loaded.
Like, they were so good.
So good.
And again, I've watched a couple of the podcasts. Like I said, I don't jump into things without preparing myself a little. And I watched the young guy in the suit.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes better teams are better than better players. You know, he talked about that a little, like having that team camaraderie with where he was coaching. Nobody was beating us that day. Day, maybe we play him any other day. That day, nobody was beating us.
I can't agree more. And I to piggyback on that, I mean, I've said this, I've probably talked about it on the podcast with certain people. We won. Like, we were talented. Don't get me wrong. Like, we were really good. I don't even think we knew we were talented.
We weren't as talented. We had talented players.
Yeah,
but I don't think like
the year before us
was way more talented
across the board. Definitely, like they were on paper. They should have won back-to-back state champions. We won. We were so tight. We were so tight. We were a good group of kids.
What was Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
And we sang it on the. Remember we had Sosa?
Yeah,
the big guy, our bus driver,
of course.
And he wasn't. I got to know he wound up taking a job in Englewood, like full time. He wasn't with the bus company anymore. And all of a sudden, like, I don't know why, but I'm in Englewood and I hear, Coach. And I turn around, I'm like, Sosa. It wasn't it. And I don't, God forbid, I don't know his name.
Sosa.
But I called him Sosa and he lit up.
Yeah.
Like he
Sosa.
knew.
He'd come out, he'd watch the games. Yep. Basketball, same deal. He'd come and sit up always.
But I remember, like, you know, saying, like, we have to, Miss Sullivan, like you got to call.
Yeah,
I went to the secretary. You got to call them and tell them we need Sosa. And I remember, Coach, what's the matter? They don't have any Sosa that drives for them. And I'm like,
it's not even his name.
Sosa was a kid who, like, Coach had in class. Remember?
I remember.
Gamby called him Sosa or whatever.
Yep.
And I'm like, pardon me, but he's a heavy set Spanish guy.
Yeah.
And she called back. She's like, okay, we got him. Like, they knew who he was. And when he pulled up that day, and I remember driving home, we're on Route 17, and you guys are singing Backstreet Boys.
Yep, I went that way.
You guys are singing that, and he just turns and he's like, what's wrong with these boys? I said, I don't know, but let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody bought in. Like,
everybody bought in. The community.
A lot of school districts have their own buses, but some school districts you use a company. Yeah. So there is no camaraderie.
We had the
Scholastic or whatever we had.
Schroeder bus.
So maybe I think
it was Schroeder at the time.
I
was running for something, and we had it like wrapped in his.
No. To go to the game, no. We took a yellow school bus.
Did we? Yeah. I could have sworn during the playoffs we took the Schroeder bus.
No way.
You sure?
Sosa drove it. We couldn't get Sosa to drive.
He drove to the state championship game?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why
I wouldn't have let it not like that again.
It has to be Sosa. I'm
so superstitious with things like. Oh yeah,
he was a staple. I mean, I remember basketball too. Same deal. He would just come.
He just bought in. He loved it, and he would go walk into the game like into it. Big. He was probably an athlete. I never got like He
was just into it.
He became. I think he was working with Englewood as a mechanic for buses. Like, what a guy. But again, that just veers us off. But that game was
amazing.
And then
that was
How about the safety? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, brilliant call. I should have ran out the clock a little longer, but brilliant call. Because what's crazy is that
I haven't been able to find a quarterback that can punt.
Really?
Like everyone, come on,
we were good. Our punting was great. Curtis was actually the best punter, but he was also the best snapper.
That's what I have going on right now in the Milford. Yeah. Our snapper can hold and kick. He can do everything, but snapping's the first thing. Yep. And
never messed up a snap. No. Curtis never, not one time. He was on point.
Every time.
Because it was field goals and punts on point.
And it was, guys, we're going to take a safety. And all of a sudden, are you crazy? And I just took the headsets off, going timeout. You guys knew.
Yeah.
You knew. That's what we practiced.
The right call.
The problem is we only practiced it and thinking back and learning. We only practiced it from the goal line.
Yeah, we didn't do it from like what were we at, the 20?
And maybe Renshaw, again, I think one of the things that Renshaw and I both have the ability. Renshaw is one of the most competitive people I've ever met in anything he does, but we have the ability to be grounded in a tight spot. And I remember him like saying, what if Maxx trips? You know, like, I'm like,
Oh my God, that would have been the
I'm
worst.
like, wait, what? Because you had to run like 30 yards.
30 yards back. I should have milked it even more
You could
looking
have
back.
milked it a lot more.
I just
'cause
felt
they didn't
like
know what was happening.
No.
They like, we sort of fooled them.
I ran back and I didn't even try to do too much. I just basically got there to the point that somebody was in my face.
I think it went from like 17 or 18 to
6
like
or 7.
11 or 10.
Was it that? Oh, yes.
We had a kickoff. They ran one play.
And they completed it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. But they had no timeouts. Like those
no, they got called back on an illegal man downfield.
But they still had no timeouts. So they wouldn't have been able to line up. So that played into the how much time was left question. But Tony Gonzalez on WCTV, like Tony was wherever he was spying and scouting for next year. And he walked in and he's, Billy, don't do it. Don't do it, Billy. Like that's don't take a safety because they brought it up because they remembered Gamby did it against Butler.
Yep.
And you know, I always like to ask that question because everybody, great call. You know,
Great
I'm
call.
like, wait, great call because it worked.
Well, yeah.
You know, but again, I had already played those things in my mind. It
really just made the most sense. I feel like there's more chance for something to go wrong if you're going to run multiple plays. And
again, the kicking situation, they had a very good kicker
who happened to miss an extra point.
Danny did Danny just poked it up and over.
We were in a good spot to
like
do it.
Like you said, we were so close.
Oh man,
so close, and it
was a great group.
It was a great group, and I think back of how many guys on that team started coaching.
Yeah, you got Cord, you got Toll, you got
Kenroy coached junior football for a while. Anthony Muir. He's become like he's a hot commodity.
It's amazing.
He's doing awesome. He made a great call when he was an offensive coordinator at Dumont to beat me at Fort Lee. He called a draw back the other way, and you know
who would have thought,
he's
man?
Rolling,
like, he's rolling.
You know, and again,
I see him all over the place.
Just a quality kid who loved the game and bought into it. You know, like
I love
4 or 5 kids. You know, Johnny coached for a while at Bergen Tech. Like there's five kids became coaches.
Yeah.
You know, Curtis is coaching. Like 6 out of 15 or 17. I think we had 17 seniors. Like a third of those seniors became coaches. Like
it's pretty cool.
It's pretty easy for me because I didn't have to repeat a lot of stuff. Because once you told that he related, because I don't know if they knew they were going to become coaches. I know Dave said he wasn't sure or whatever. Like
yeah.
But there's something in you. I don't know if I knew I was going to become a coach as a sophomore in high school, but I knew that I wasn't afraid to ask a coach, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but why are we doing it this way? Just so I understand. And I was trying to learn even back then.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's something that, you know, sort of.
It was cool. It was cool listening to Dave when we sat down, because I had never really asked Dave, like, what. I don't know why people get into coaching. We never talk about it. You just do what you do. I do what I do. And when he started explaining, you know, how he viewed the game and how he views like what he had to do to get to a space to be valuable on the field and then ultimately off the field, it really made sense. I mean, he is a smart guy. If you look at it for what it's worth going into senior year, I mean, he was first time starter.
Like most of you.
Yeah, like most of us, and playing a position that, you know, on a defense that was very, very important. And he was always in the right place at the right time. That it makes a lot of sense.
It makes up for, like I heard him say, lack of ability and speed and stuff. Like it
right place, right time
covers for that. And if you know where to be,
correct.
And I've seen that in a long time.
He understands the game.
Again, the picture, one of those, if you Google like our year. Oregon was trying to take that interception to the house.
I know. He got held back, didn't John?
Like, no, Cord basically tackled him.
That's right.
And then you look back and you're like, I think I might have told that to like some Highlands kids, and like, you know, when you think of your coach, this is what he did. Like, Oregon was going to the house. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's what he was thinking. Yeah, so be like, or whatever.
Sure.
But you know, now you think of who fumbled and stuff like that, and then. You know, here was Cord. Like, why did he become a? Because he knew that stuff. Yeah, you know, he knew that.
He knows the game. He's his awareness is.
You know, talking to you before, like his knowledge of the game of football blows mine away.
Crazy.
It is nuts. And am I shocked since the first time I sat with him? You know, at Houlihan's or something when he was starting to become a coordinator to where he is now. I'm not. Like he got it back then, and he was trying to install our little 4-4 defense and stuff like that. And you know, then he was also smart enough to know I've got to learn from other people.
Yeah.
And he took what he did from Coach Johnson, who again is an absolute legend.
Yeah.
And he was able to mix and match it. And he
got
said
to a good place.
Like I said about our staff, he surrounded himself with
did.
awesome people.
Dave's in general smart, like football for sure, but Dave as a human being, as like a man, Dave's he's smart. He patient. He really understands things. He doesn't jump into conversations without being knowledgeable.
I just have a big problem. This guy's on like the 50-yard line every game.
Dave.
Who is he that he doesn't get a flag thrown?
I know.
Like every coach in America, like this guy's out past the hash and he throws his headsets all over the place.
Always taking the headset off and holding it.
Again, like, I questioned him on it, and he's like, I know what I'm doing. I was like, all right, whatever. But that's the Westwood run, and then we had 2 more years. We were pretty successful again. Won 7 and 8 games those years. Lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Question for you, I guess now would be, I coached with Amelia, and I coached at Bergen with Carl Seitz, Coach Seitz, and best team. What's their 6 or 7 state champions?
Talking about Westwood's best team?
From 2000 to now. Who's the best? Because I'll tell you what, the worst football team athletically is us. Like our state championship team, and I tell that, and I clearly say it, like we had some stud athletes. I don't want to sound like that. Like, we won a state champion, but compared to what they had in those other years, like those guys. But
I don't know. I remember looking back. I remember going to like the Borgeson seasons and watching them, and always thinking to myself, like we would out tough any of these guys. Like I always would think that.
There's exactly what I said.
Yeah, like we beat them up.
Because the easiest one for me to compare is 2004 and us.
Yeah,
and
can I tell you a funny story?
Go ahead. This probably would lead to a fist fight or something.
No, but it was
those
a
kids
moment.
Were too soft. They wouldn't have fought you the 2004 team.
Some of them were tough, but
no,
we were different. We had a different moxie. We were like the nice guys, but had this edge. There was no doubt about it. We had an edge, right? Funny story. So after our state championship season, obviously we're fresh out of high school, but the other guys, they were a couple years into college, 3 years into
meet on Thanksgiving and play.
So we go to the Memorial, and there was this conversation of who was the better team, and we played them, and it was we didn't have Al, we didn't have JT, we didn't have Spady, we didn't have any of it. I think we had John, we had a bunch of guys, linemen, and we played line on line, quarterback, like a 7-on-7, but a legit tackle football game. We smoked them. And this is a fact. If you were at the game and you know, I mean, smoked. And this was like, and I'll call names. I don't care. Berger, Travis, Grud.
I just heard from Travis the other day. Guy that I grew up with lives in Township now, and Travis was running the hills or something. Monster.
Are you talking about Travis Sample?
No,
I'm talking about Mikey Travis.
Oh, Mikey Travis. Okay.
That team. Yeah, no, Travis Sample. I've seen him. I've seen him a bunch in the last 15 years. No, Mike Travis. So he had a bunch of their guys. I'm pretty sure Martinez was there. You had a bunch. We smoked them. Like it was not even a game. And I remember nobody knows about it. I don't think we ever even talked about it.
Should have filmed it.
Back then.
I know. I'm just kidding.
This is like 2007. I don't even know. We need a cam, but it was a lot of fun.
Crazy.
But the best team, I still stand behind the 2000 team being the best team.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. I think it's one of the best public school teams in Bergen County history.
They were 300 across the board. Guys went to Syracuse, Hawaii, Wake Forest, they barely threw it.
They had Asbury, who was like a 4.4 quarterback as a sophomore, right? And you had I think they had Morello and then Asbury. They were like the quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken. Then you had Ian Hawaii, Cassiel Wake Forest, Billy Moore, young, but Billy Moore. And then you had a 300-pound line who all of them basically went and played college football. Somewhere. Defense stacked. They were loaded.
I have no doubt. But
best team.
The one, like, again, for me, 04 versus your team.
Yeah. It would have been a
great game,
battle.
but I think that we were tougher.
I just think we were.
But again, that's me. I would
out Coach Gamby. We were good?
I know that.
Not out yell him. I remember realizing that we were good because I remember going into senior year and knowing, listen, we know we're good because we remember being around each other and playing each other growing up.
But there had to be some doubt because
you didn't know.
Straub doesn't, hasn't done this.
Not even just you.
You guys had never played varsity other than Al and JT. Our freshman football team and our JV team
probably was we won pretty much all the time, but we didn't have Al. I think
JV you definitely
didn't. We didn't have a Spady, and so going into our senior year, I remember thinking, I can speak for myself. just unpredictable. Like we know we're good. We know we're a bunch of good athletes and good guys, and like we knew we could play. It was when we beat. It was watching two things. JT stiff arm a Ramapo kid through the ground.
Remember Ramapo ran a fake punt in the scrimmage during that?
Yeah, but we beat him. We beat him. We mushed him, and then we went to play Pope John and beat Pope John.
That's when I knew.
When we beat Pope John, I'm like, oh, we're good.
Oh, we're because Pope John. We went to a Catholic in the pouring rain.
Coach
Patanastro was in the golf cart again. God rest his soul. He was a legend. Played at Notre Dame, and we were like, where are we going?
Yeah, we smacked him.
And
we beat him up.
Physically, I think the score was close.
Like 7-6.
It was like a monsoon.
Yes.
And coach is like, are you sure you want to drive? I said, we're coming.
Yeah.
We need to do this.
Yeah.
And we went. They had a real good running back who did.
He's a Division I guy.
Yeah, nothing against us.
Nothing.
And I was like, oh my God, this defense is going to be
it was our defense.
And again, Renshaw used to say, like, still says, I coached under Vito. I've coached under all these guys, offensive guys. He goes, Straub, play defense and punt, and we'll score a couple touchdowns and beat you.
So that's what we did.
That's it. Pin people and
we ran the ball down your throat, and you couldn't score. That was basically our
and the games were over in like an hour 45.
The clock was just running.
The clock just moved. It was
0 incomplete passes.
Yeah, it was
no passes.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I remember when I played in the Bergen County game. And I'll never forget you coming up to me after. I've said this story many times. You came up to me after the game. He goes, and you were like, "What was that? Like, where did that come from?"
Maybe I could have thrown the ball a little more.
Maybe we could have thrown the ball. Nah, we were good. We won.
Quarterback sneak. Remember?
Yeah.
Like whatever.
That was it.
Just put that in over.
We just did. The Bergen County game was the first time I was ever even in a shotgun ever.
You didn't even know what.
I didn't know what I was doing. And I did what I was doing.
I always I've. Maybe my third year at Westwood, my last year, we might have put in shotgun, and I don't remember who was saying it.
It was only punt.
I think it was a bad snap.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It was it, yeah.
I want to say your senior year, we faked the punt against Tenafly. Okay, we faked the punt against Tenafly. Mm-hmm. Johnny got stopped.
Yes.
Stopped by our sideline.
Yep.
And I've been a head coach now since that game for 15 years or whatever, 12 years, whatever it may be. I've never faked a punt again because we got stopped.
Wow, really?
So I went away from shotgun that year because we had one bad snap in practice. So I'm sort of crazy. And I know it in myself, and I got to still break. Maybe this year we'll fake one or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's, those kinds of things just
they stick in your mind.
Stick with me. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. So Westwood was a special
place. And you were there for how? 3 years?
As an assistant, 3 as a head coach. So 6 total. And it was, I drive a long way home back and forth. I live in Sussex County, and sometimes I'm just daydreaming about back in those days and you guys and, Googling to see where you guys are if I don't have a number or something like that. And, I told you I don't know how I can do this because this isn't my thing, but once we start talking about Westwood, to me it holds a special place for forever. For giving me that first shot, but also for, seeing parents or whatever. I remember when parents were living in Fort Lee, I think I saw maybe mom and Acme one night or whatever.
Dude, my mom loves you. She speaks so high every time. She goes, I just love him.
It was, whatever, seeing Mrs. Toll. I went, Thanksgiving, one day went to them in the Dumont game, seeing us like that.
Yeah.
It's just you never
go Cards, Cards.
Yep, it's all the same. Like none of that stuff. And go Tigers when she was.
We heard her.
Yep.
Every game. She was a big voice in the stands.
The big helmet.
Yeah, the big helmet.
We had all.
Man, dude, wow, that was a lot of fun.
Super fans, and it's a great play. I know that it's beautiful what they have there.
Yeah.
Playing at Kettler and getting on the bus to go to Kettler for practice on Friday.
Say that what they have now, I'm like, that's the house that we built.
They reap the benefits of you guys winning.
Of a couple state championships.
I'll tell you what, that and the flooding.
Yeah.
And the flooding and the goose poop and all that.
It was
disgusting. It was probably
the bridge, though.
Sickening. But walking over the bridge the little kids on the knees giving you high fives.
You felt like
it mattered.
You felt like it mattered. The community was around you. That
remember,
Kettler field and that environment.
Telling my mom, like, Ma, just get up and sit in the first seat.
Yeah.
Because that thing's going to collapse one of these days.
The
wood. And then they'd replace one piece of wood and not the rest. It was, but yeah, it was.
It was amazing. That was
crazy.
If you were there, it was a very special environment. It was very different. I remember watching like the 2000 team. I'd go to the games and it was just like, you were in awe. You look up to these guys. There was a thing about that whole.
You wanted to do it.
You wanted to do it.
I know I wasn't part of that, but didn't lose a lot of kids. And, you had Coach Karsich lived in Township. Mm-hmm. Bergen is a mile away.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a ton of kids leaving here because, and again, the name that people cannot forget through all these runs is George DeGrande.
So it's DeGrande. We were talking DeGrande.
Yep.
Right. So, and while we were on a break, take a little break. We're talking about the best teams in Westwood history. I think we both agree that 2000 team.
No doubt.
Bias, and I'm going to be biased. I think that we are probably, if we're going to say championship teams.
Yeah,
like just state championship. Who cares? Otherwise, it doesn't matter. Right? I would put us maybe not talent like across the board on paper, but I put us the number 2 team.
Again, what I look at is your senior year. Nobody played it down at college football, so that state championship team. Al was a walk-on for a couple of years. Yeah. Taylor got his scholarship, but injured.
Yeah.
I want to say Napoli might have been a sophomore on that team.
Yeah.
Went to college in New Jersey and played some tight end for a little bit, but
nobody in our senior.
Played. You went to Montclair,
I was out in 2.
Yeah. So the reality is, if you talk team, it's hard to argue that like we didn't have anybody that played in the NFL. We didn't have anybody that played Division I, even though I think Al could have, and so could have JT.
Yeah,
I don't think. Borgeson played at BC. Like
we didn't have a Nolan in that sense,
we didn't have anything, but we were, like you said, and like I said earlier, we were a team that everybody.
There was something about our team, and Nolan is Nolan. I mean, he's decorated. Yep. He's one of the best Bergen County public school football players ever.
I think the reception record might have just got broken, but he held that for a number of years.
Touchdowns in a season, touchdown in a career, I think.
Yeah, he was ridiculous.
Wonderful
kid. I remember him coming to little kids camp when I was coach, and I think he was homeschooled early on, stuff like that.
Yep.
And and what a wonderful kid. I would see him after the fact and just so respectful.
Nolan is a stud, really good human being. I see Nolan a bunch. I'm close with the family. He was unbelievable. What I was going to say was, though, if I'm going to stack and put stats are going to make people think things.
Our stats weren't good offensively, but
if
nobody was as good defensively as us.
No, but if I stack, if you say, okay, yeah, but they had Nolan. If we had Al, and I'm not putting them far. They are. If you're talking football player, it's at the very least a wash. That's how I look at it.
And we spoke before the thing started and all, and I've been all over the place. I've coached everywhere. I've coached bad teams. I've coached good teams. I've been lucky enough for Vito to bring me on for a couple years at Bergen Catholic and saw kids that are going to make money and already are making money. And Quincy Porter is ridiculous. And those guys are, Nair down in Georgia, like DJ, they're amazing.
Yeah.
But total package, again, Quincy I think is different, but all being relative to a Group 2 or Group 1 school, I've never seen anybody like Al.
No, I played with him, and I'm going to be biased. He's my best friend. His natural football ability and instinct and aggression and, he's strong, like how he tackled. There's no better linebacker in the history of Westwood. That's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. I think he's the best defensive player probably to ever play at Westwood. But he's
That's pretty strong. DJ playing in the NFL. And
he's better.
Ramel is
if
right
you're going
on
off
par.
high school,
Ramel did things
Ramel
as
was
a high
special.
school player, and he wound up taking the hard road at Rutgers as a walk-on.
Yeah.
And
Look what he became.
Going into the wrestling room and beating the, like he he's pretty
But
special.
Ramel, first of all, Ramel was better than BJ in high school. I believe as a football player in high school, I stand firm in that. I think Ramel was.
I would say Al and Ramel to me are
the guys,
are the two guys. You know, if you take Bergen out of the equation, because I don't want to compare, that's not fair.
Yeah,
those guys at Bergen are
special.
Different.
Yeah.
But you're also talking 15 years ago, and Al didn't have private coaches, you know. I
he
remember
was
Al had a bench
player
in his garage with chains on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. So it was different.
Yeah.
And I think it's all relative. So again, it's not fair to put the Bergen kids into anybody. It's not fair to Al and it's not fair to them. But if you want to say public school football players, and JT's, you know,
right there,
just as good. JT was different because he was a straight, like
different. If we're talking,
he was a true running back as a public school true running back at 6'2", 220, ran a 10.7 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he was sick.
They were both. If you're talking defense, it's Al. If you're talking, like, they both could do things that the other couldn't do. You know, like JT as a running back, Al was not going to be that running back ever.
I mean, I think back, we were just an I team that, you know.
We found out JT was a running back.
Yeah.
That was the trial. That was
he
a
was
trial.
A tight end as a freshman too, I remember.
He was a tight end freshman and sophomore year. He came into that season with zero running back experience in high school.
Like, messing up a call and JT just lining up at tight end because we had the wrong group in. And I think it was against Richfield Park, and Gonzalez was like going nuts, called a timeout. And I was like, thanks. Like, I messed up and you guys just picked it up, you know, that kind of stuff. And again, Al could have played receiver, you know, those kinds of things. JT could have been a receiver. He could have been a tight end.
They're just football. They're football players. They're football players. And
I think that was something more old school.
Yeah.
You weren't cookie cutter. You know, and that's something that Vito does an amazing job at Bergen with. He doesn't cookie cutter kids, you know.
Like, tough.
Those kids are tough. Those kids are worked.
That, to me, that matters. Like, you know, like if you can have all the skill in the world, but if you're going to go into a game, anything you do, and not have a toughness about you, like that toughness that's going to separate you.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are. You know what I mean?
And back to DeGrande, like none of this would be going on if he didn't build it. He came here when it was not very much. I don't want to say they were bad or terrible, whatever. And I've talked to him. I've become very good friends with him, worked, you know, some all-star games with him. And he said Idris Wells. Idris Wells came through the door. And,
Idris,
you know,
Jesus.
they had, you know, 12 kids on the freshman team. And, you know, he would score every touchdown. And they didn't want to bring him up. And then all of a sudden when they did, it just got
changed everything.
He's another guy, like you talked about the receivers and the line. And he was pretty good. I think he went to like Eastern Michigan.
He did. He was one of those. He's so before my. It's hard for me to like remember. He was it.
He was a tough.
He just was.
So this we all owe a debt of gratitude. Every coach who's come through, and everybody's done it their own way and rebuilt it and stuff like that. I sort of just piggyback Gamby and stuff like that, but Coach DeGrande was the man.
He was the man.
Got it rolling.
They lost 2-1.
They lost twice, I think,
then
and
won.
then they won.
Yeah. And that 99 team was like Kevin Sampson. Kevin Sampson went to the Chiefs. They were Westwood. We joke about it a bunch. Like, you know, there's just something in the water. I don't understand why we're good constantly. I mean, Westwood is probably, if I'm not, maybe I'm wrong. I think it's the most public school state sectional championships in the last 25 years.
It has to be.
Right? 7?
I was going to say 7.
7. I think it's the most. And it's not 7 in a row or 7 out of 9. You're talking
a couple years
2000, 04, 07, 13.
Again, we all like to think we're great coaches, but it's also been 5 coaches that have won
5
7.
coaches.
So it's not the coaching that's getting it done.
Yeah.
Maybe it's definitely the players.
Wow, is Westwood like the launch pad for many coaches? If you think about it, like you win and then you kind of set your...
Yeah, you just, you know, and many of us are stupid and left, you know, and again, I've loved every experience I've had since I've left here.
Yeah.
You know, after 3 years, I decided, hey, I am this amazing coach and I'm going to go to Fort Lee.
Yeah.
Which is where I
grew
was
personal.
Up, and my mom, and, you know, that was, my mom went to high school there, you know, still lived there like that. My sister, so that was something that, you know, was a personal decision. It was nothing Westwood wise. And boy, did I get slapped in the face quick and realize you're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I had 2 stints at Fort Lee, public school at the time I got there. Had only been, not one, had only been in the state playoffs twice in the history of the school.
Wow.
So go back to the 40s or the 30s when football started. They made the playoffs in 83 and 85.
That's it.
That's it. Made it and lost in the first round and stuff like that.
Wow. So what was your did you want to go there and kind of like bring,
hey, I'm going to turn this around.
Yeah,
I went here.
Yeah,
this is it. And it didn't work. And after 5 years, I stepped away. I had won 2 games each year, something like that. And I was like, I believe in looking yourself in the mirror. And at that point, I felt I had given everything I had and I wasn't successful. And I was man enough to say I didn't accomplish what I want.
Yeah.
And I was gone for 2 years. I became an assistant at a couple places. It's weird. I've been an assistant at a number of places since there, and it's hard for me to realize, and we spoke about, how many years since you graduated. It's hard for me to realize that I was becoming the older guy. So a lot of my friends that were head coaches and guys that I knew well were like, hey, I got a young staff. Can you come mentor? And, I talked about the people I worked under, Gambardella, Dowling, people like that, and how can I pay it forward and give an opportunity as an assistant so the head coach doesn't have that.
Yeah.
And that's something I tried to do. And then after those 2 years, Fort Lee opened again, and one of my very good friends, Mike Raftery, is the athletic director, and he's like, we need help. Because when I got to Fort Lee, there wasn't enough helmets in the program. There wasn't enough equipment.
Yeah, that's like that.
And, I went out to practice our first day of camp, and I had kids like shoulder pads and pants and stuff like that with no helmet because we were waiting for them to be ordered and stuff. So the positive after 5 years is I felt the program had established
a foundation
that hadn't been there in forever.
Which is huge.
And then after 2 years, I came back, and my first year there, we went 7-3 and made the state playoffs.
Wow.
We went out to Lenape, and my first game at Fort Lee, when we talk about like communities and things like that, was I only knew Westwood. So we go and we play Queen of Peace, who was rolling at the time and going to maul us. And I think there was 5 people there. Like my mom
at the game,
my mom, my brother-in-law, and 2 parents, and a junior football guy that I grew up with. 5.
Wow.
At the game.
How?
So
it's still something to do. Nobody decided.
When we went to the state playoffs, we had a fan bus. So building that community, and then, after 3 years, we were still 500 or whatever. And then just decided, because a bunch of kids had left for Catholic schools, and Fort Lee was going into the Ivy League, which is a great league, and it's awesome. It's a league for teams trying to rebuild. And it's been great, and they've had great success in it, but they can't make the state playoffs. And I said Fort Lee hadn't only been there one time. Still, I coach for kids, and I want to change lives, but I also coach because I'm a competitor.
There's something about it, yeah.
So
you have your
losing that feeling, I didn't have the opportunity. So a couple things. I went and coached under Dave during COVID, which was probably one of the coolest experiences, coaching under a former player.
That's
and,
wild, yeah.
And we had fun. We struggled a little, and he was, trying to fill Chuck's shoes and stuff like that. Because I was going to try to go to Bergen that year. And then Dave called, and we spoke, and just made sense. And then the next year I went to Bergen. I had reached out to Vito and spent 3 years there coaching linebackers, and still in contact with some of those guys. And it was an amazing experience. The reason I wanted to do it was because I wanted to see if I was good enough to be at that level. Like I said, I think I'm pretty basic in what I do and stuff like that. I wasn't a coordinator. I was the linebacker coach, and it was pretty, Vito gave me the freedom to be me. So I checked grades every, Thursday, and kids would run if they had C's on their online stuff. And, other kids are like, what the heck is going on there? And kids started to make fun of the linebackers, but he allowed me to do that kind of stuff without it being a team rule. Yeah. And, the kids, the linebackers were amazing, and amazing. I got there. We had 27 linebackers my first year for 3 positions. So we were 9 deep. 9 deep, and I know the public school coaches all over the place. And it, guys, you can't say go home because that's not what we do, but didn't matter if it was the 9th string kid or the 1st string. They just bought into what we were doing in the position within the team. So my rules might have been a little different, but Vito supported it, let it happen. And again, got to make some great friends there, got to work with some younger coaches. I talked about Carl, a Westwood kid, guys I call friends now, that I started working with and things like that. So the experience was awesome. Yeah. And then I said I live in Sussex County and teach in Fort Lee. I won't leave there. It's just a financial thing at this point in my career. I can't. And the New Milford job opened up, and it's sort of sequenced. It was only 10 minutes. They got out of school at 3. We got out of school at 2:36, so I could get there in time. It worked my way towards home and shortened that ride. And
wow, I didn't look at it like that.
I was like, let me see what happens. I talked to Vito and whatever, and he's like, do what you got to do. They're really lucky to have you, and and went through the interview process, and I was lucky enough to get it. And again, the thing I think that I kept trying to do subconsciously is find another Westwood. And last week we had our media day or whatever, press conference for the league. And this is as close, New Milford, to Westwood as there is out there.
Really?
The community support and the buy-in from the administration, the kids, the parents, the mayor, the superintendent is a former football guy. Like, it is unbelievable. The athletic director is so supportive to anything I need. It is awesome. And, like most places, the kids get there after the first quarter, but by the end of the night, like, the place is packed.
I feel like New Milford's always, I didn't know a lot about New Milford. I have a few friends that went there and found out, like, I remember their names, but I feel like they've always had.
Yeah, they beat us in the state playoffs the one year.
Yeah,
and
a good community, good talent. It is a similar.
It's very similar to Westwood.
Yeah,
it is just like it.
Yeah,
and, first year we went 7-3. We lost to Mountain Lakes in the semifinals. They had to come to us 14-7, and we have a small senior class. We had a big senior class that sort of bought into me very quickly. I don't think I've changed. I don't think I'm very much different than I was when I coached you. I care about the kids first and foremost. I want to win. Don't get me wrong. But I care about the kids, and I think that comes through, and I think they know that.
Yeah.
But, small things. This is how we do it. Get on the line, get your feet behind it, like small things.
Yeah.
And something I've taken away from Vito in my couple years there is the Bergen motto is earn everything. And I think for a high school football player, you can't have a better one. There's cliches all over the world.
That's a good.
Because that's something that carries to life.
I was just going to say,
you've grinded for 17 years and you still are.
Yeah.
And I graduated high school in 92, and I'm still grinding in every single day in everything I do.
Yep.
And I think that if you want something in this world,
you got to earn it.
Very few people are getting it handed to them. So you've got to earn it. And Vito selling that, or not selling and truly believing in that at Bergen, said to me, you know what? This guy's 100% right.
Yeah.
And our values and beliefs were the same. The way he cares about kids and that, like, there was no difference there. So that's why it was comfortable. And then I was able to take some stuff with me that I loved what he did.
Yeah. He's a great person. I mean,
as good as there is.
Vito's arguably the top head coach in the state. I'd imagine he's got to be in that conversation.
Disagree.
Yeah. I mean, everywhere he's ever gone, anybody who talks about, I've been around him a couple of times. I don't know him very well, but like just being friends with other coaches and stuff. And he's a guy.
Off the field is so like such a family person.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
He got so much hype for coaching his kids and working the camp and stuff, like, and seeing him interact with his children is amazing.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful person.
I hear nothing.
When the whistle blows and the ball is kicked, or you're, okay, stretch lines.
Yep.
I like to joke with him, like, I want to be in your head sometimes. I don't know how he flips the switch like that so crazy, and then right back to, hey, coach, what'd you think?
Chill,
wait, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen? But
he does get fired up. I have an MP3 audio clip of a halftime speech of his, and it is.
Nobody will match them. I know Coach
electric.
Toll. So I never sat in a Coach Toll one.
Yeah.
But there's something special.
It's electric. You have to to deliver that. You got to be in it. You got to be spiritually, mentally invested.
Go back to Al. That's something that I'll never forget. State championship. I don't want to say I cursed anybody out, but I crushed him at halftime of the state championship.
We talked about it. Yeah.
Crushed him.
Yeah.
And then, like, looking back at the stats, he had 9 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and
In
a sack in the first half. And looking back, I'm like,
Expectations
without
were
him,
high.
it was like 42-0
Easily.
And I'm saying to myself, and Cord, made the play right before the half.
That was
I don't
huge,
know.
yeah.
I don't know why they went spread and threw the ball, but they did. But like, to think like what you do and the kids and part of me, I didn't have a plan. Like, I'm going into Rip Al.
Yeah.
I don't
That was
know.
it, though.
Like, we didn't really do an X or O. We were coming out and running lead and toss
Yes,
and dive and like we were who we are. And I just remember like looking at him and like I said about Vito, I just blacked out and started and thinking back to it, some other kid that's playing is like, he's screaming at him for playing bad. I better get my track together.
Our guy.
So
yeah.
if he's killing Al for this, what about?
Yeah, you know what though? It's the state championship. It's the last game of the year. Seniors are going. I think that it's the game. Of course, you want to push him for the game, but it's also like you're gonna let this be your last.
Yeah, I think about the team
impression.
Like, we were quiet. Remember?
Yeah,
we didn't say a word. We quiet stretch.
Yep.
We were all that kind of stuff. And remember, they had us like this, and PV was screaming in our faces, and you guys, and I was like, we got a shot.
Yeah, we were locked
because nobody flinched. 5x3, nobody flinched, and I was
tunnel vision.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It
was intense. That moment
that was the worst configuration ever.
Ever.
Like, you think of Miami, Notre Dame.
And they were barking.
And they were like
hooting and hollering.
Rushing us. And I was like,
well, that's all. And that's all it was. It was a fumble, a drive.
Yep. Fumble. That
was it. We didn't move the ball
at all. We couldn't.
They fumbled. We got the ball at the 50.
And a couple times we were going to.
Yeah.
We put the ball on the floor.
Put the ball on the floor.
But again,
one drive though. It took one drive. We needed a touchdown and the extra point
to just get it over.
Doink it over.
Just enough. Like, here was our guy, baseball player and football, all county running back. Here
crazy.
And they have some monster, like.
It was huge.
Our guys didn't even think of, oh my God, the goalposts are smaller. Like, none of that mattered. It wasn't even cross. I watch KJ, the kicking coach at Bergen, like when we get ready to play in what is it called? MetLife now. I still call it Giant Stadium. Like, he's configuring like these PVC pipes because their kickers are kicking 60-yarders. I'm like, I think back and as Beatty,
he
didn't even know, except it was yellow instead of we had the white ones at Kettler.
The toe kick.
That was it. And that was it. Like, just get it down.
And what's interesting is their kicker was very good, and he was a kicker. So when he popped the ball up, it was very windy. When he popped the ball up, it just kind of like drifted.
As Beatty kicked the ball, if this is the goalpost, he kicked it one
line drive right over.
Just enough. And
crazy.
It
was amazing,
defense.
Man. That time was unbelievable. I mean, listen, it shaped you. It shaped me. Those are moments and times that I'll never forget.
I had been teaching for 6 years prior to coming here as a teacher and all that. And again, there's the people here, like, and there was some transition going on.
Yeah.
Bauer was leaving, you know what I mean?
Yep. We were Bauer's last year.
Yep. It was like, so those next 2 years I had to go through transition, and, I remember.
You came in at a good time, though.
I remember like getting my first teacher's observation, and I think, were you in the class with Zahulis and them?
Which class? Your class?
My class.
No,
it was with Radikaza, my guy Radikaza, who hated me because I was always leaving class. So Miss Benevento came, and I'm trying to teach like soccer, and Johnny was like climbing the trees and stuff. And I'm like, I might get fired before our next game. That's the worst teacher ever. Yeah. And she wrote, she goes, Coach, good class command. I was like, wait, what? What are you doing?
I can do this.
Whatever. Yeah. But again, everybody, Miss Benevento was amazing.
Yeah.
The athletic director. And again, everybody cared. Everybody wanted to be.
It was just a good thing. I mean, sports were high. I mean, they've always been, but there was something. I mean, football to basketball to baseball. Like, I remember the transitions and how everybody kind of rooted for each other. And our grade in particular, like, really rooted for everybody. We didn't fight each other. We didn't get physical. Everybody's invited to parties.
Skip down the hallways holding hands.
Dude, we loved each other like so much. We had so much fun. We were good guys. We had our fun. Don't get me wrong, but we were like
I said,
well-rounded across the board.
As a coach, again, the cliche,
coachable,
turn the page. It's go time. Put on your workbook, like all that.
Yeah.
You guys were, and I remember like, how am I'm not Gamby, So how am I going to win these kids over with discipline, knowing that, hey, I was the assistant who just did, scout player of the week or something that and stuff. And I remember my mindset was, I'm going to kill the captains. Like I'm going to, anything wrong, I was going after the captains and stuff like that.
We talked about it when you first got here. I remember when I got pulled out of my art class.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I skipped computers during championship week.
State final week, ladies and gentlemen. My starting quarterback and safety cornerback receiver decided to cut class. Yeah, that was it.
We cut class. And then I get yanked out. So you
all right, so here's how it got back to me. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
That they cut class. And I was like, whoa. Now, again, remember, Maxx was one of the captains, and how am I going to win them over? And I remember making you guys run and touch the flagpole sometimes from practice, and stuff like that. But, hey, Renshaw, what's the consequences if somebody cuts class? A couple days detention. Okay, I can deal with that. The teacher wanted to let you guys go. And I said, no, write them up, put it in. Like you're writing them up for a cut. She's like, Coach, I said, I don't care. And I'm karma, things like that. I believe in karma. I remember we had a kid who was suspended and was allowed to play because they moved the suspension to Monday, and that kid had a 15-yard penalty. Like those kinds of things. And I was like, it ain't happening. And so we were playing at Giant Stadium on turf, and Miss Benevento was calling around and got us a turf game. And you said you gave the teacher a hard time. Like, I gave the teacher ratted serious. You out.
Oh, I was cold. Yeah. I might have even cursed her out. I was bugging out about it. I was like, and that was the entitlement
about that.
Yeah, it would have been over. See, that was the entitlement though. Like football guy, you feel like you're the man, and you're not out, you can get away with anything. And so I remember just being really, really, it was a lesson learned. Don't get me wrong. It was definitely a lesson learned. Maybe I didn't see it that way in the moment.
You don't see anything.
No, I was like, you're going to call me out and write me up and go tell my coach we got championship. How could you do that? I went off.
I pulled you right outside the door.
Right outside. We were in our.
Were you on?
You're with. I think you were with Kyle.
I think I brought him down with me.
You brought him with you to me.
Yeah, and I think we went right outside that little band door on the side where your parking lot.
And you made us run.
And then we practiced at Indian Hills. Team started walking to the bus, and
Oregon, Badula.
Guys over here. And if I'm correct, I think you vomited. One of you vomited.
Oh, ask anybody about me in high school. I was the furthest thing from conditioned. Like I wound up becoming conditioned throughout the season. I was lazy. I'm a leader. I love the game. I'm a gamer.
I think we played on a Saturday, and that was Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
That was
puking my brains out.
We did every 5-yard up downs. We did 100 yards.
It was brutal.
We didn't stop, and the bus was waiting.
You're watching us.
Yeah. And
from the top of the hill.
That's what I would love to make a phone. I want to know what those guys were thinking as that was going on.
Yeah. Coming back on the bus. Green from puking.
Funny.
It was awful.
Yeah, I don't know where we are time-wise, but funny story of Fort Lee. One of my former players, Josh Ford, who, again, a former player who's become a good friend of mine. He's now the head boys basketball coach there. Wonderful person, wonderful kid, but was going through some issues as a high school player. And, parents asking me, what can we do? And what can we do? And I would run him or whatever. And he was a stud athlete. So he was never tired. And so finally I was like, I called out his two best friends. Mario Giacovino, who's a rapper too, I think.
Yeah. Rioma. That's my guy.
Okay.
Dude.
So I know you know that little world.
Yeah.
And Sean Cunningham, who's a police officer in Fort Lee. And I said, put this up, like one of those big round pads, and hold it and just start running. And Mario and Sean are like, what did we do?
Yeah.
I said, you're friends with him.
Wow.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, just start running. No more questions. And they ran like a mile holding the pad. And now to this day, I like, Josh, what goes, Coach? When we got in the locker room, we were dying laughing. Yeah. But we were business then. And I'm not saying that changed Josh's life. Yeah. But at some point when a kid is going, and messing up, you got to figure out as a coach, how can you win him over? And you don't win every one.
No.
But I figured if I couldn't win him over, maybe I could win one of his friends over.
Yeah.
And
message was delivered and heard.
It was great. And Josh wound up becoming an honor student, went on to play basketball at Ramapo. And, you know, great, and like I said, great friend of mine now, and we joke all the time. And you know, it's stories like that as a coach that you'll never.
Yeah.
You know, all the wins and losses are awesome.
No,
but again, Indian Hills for you, puking 2 days
stuck with me too.
What if I dehydrated? You were cramping in the state final game
because you ran us like we were.
I was fuming. I didn't get mad a lot. You know, I think I'm very even keeled.
You're probably shocked too. Were you a little taken from it? Like, wait, those two?
Yeah. No way. You in Oregon? Cutting a class? No way. I was not in the least shocked that it was you.
Just the timing?
Yeah. Again, Al probably cut classes.
I thought we were better at getting away with shit.
No way. Like Al, I might have said, or JT, you know, they're just playing the game.
Yeah,
and
me and Kyle.
Who was the shop teacher?
Skoko.
Oh, Mr. Skoko. Coach, is Lasanti ever going to come to class?
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know, but he figured a way to play the game and all that. And you got like, no, I didn't think you were playing the game as nearly as well as those guys.
No, not as well.
Yeah.
A little looser.
Yeah.
A little more loose. Yeah. We walked on the fringe of acceptable.
But JT and Al.
They were more.
Yeah, they were. They knew how, because you had the smile, but people could read through your smile a little bit.
I thought I was smarter than I was. Let's put it that way. I figured it out.
You cursed out a teacher because she wrote you up for cutting.
I know.
I've been teaching 25 years. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
If a kid doesn't come to your class, you have to inform people.
It was more.
You thought it was her fault.
I did. I talked to her like I was an adult. I talked to her like, I talked to her like we were peers, not like teacher to student relationship at all.
A woman who'd probably been teaching 25 or 30 years.
She felt bad though. Like what's crazy is I made her feel bad, and only to look back and say to myself like, she did not deserve that, you know. And I probably embarrassed her in the class. It was a moment. We made up. I talked to her afterwards. Weeks later, we won a state championship. So
at that point, you were talking to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. But listen, we are definitely around the time where we're gonna, wrap things up. I do want to touch real quick on New Milford. This upcoming season. Who you guys got first week?
We open up in 2 days. We play Bergen Field on Thursday night. Was a great game, but Coach Violante lost his life in a bad car accident.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ago.
Oh man,
terrible. He coached his first varsity game against me at Fort Lee. This is one of those super football conference, NJIC.
Yeah.
It's a natural. We border, towns border. It was a great fit. So it's going to be some emotions.
Yeah.
Especially on their sidelines and especially for me.
Yeah.
I've known him. He's a colleague of mine for a number of years.
Wow.
They're doing good things. They hired one of Coach Labby's one of their assistants who took over. He's brought Coach Nielsen from PV on to help. And, Coach Kraljic, he has some veteran guys. So it's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we only have 7 seniors, decent amount of kids coming back. We're going to be a big physical team. And then we go Lyndhurst Heights. And so we're going to find out very early
what you got,
what we have and how we're going to be. And then our league is, Coach Catrona just came to Saddlebrook and things have moved and our league is tough. But again, the community is great. I'm not going to get into players and all that. It's, more me and you just talking here. But we have a big physical tailback, a big physical fullback. We're 225, 240 in the backfield. And we're going to be –
that's big.
We're going to be old days.
Yeah,
Westwood,
that is Westwood.
And here we come.
All right. So exciting season up and coming. You have 7 seniors, you said. You have big – I love the fact that you're actually bringing back like the old school style of football. Have never really lost the old school.
I've never – I mean, I did some spread stuff a little bit at Fort Lee, but nothing. Like we ran spread to run lead.
Yeah.
Jet. Jet is something, holy cow.
Yeah.
Quarterback could run a little bit there, Mario. So, that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I'm 2 back and we're –
I got to come check it out.
We are. You're more than welcome.
Oh, I'm doing it. You, Bobby. I mean, I've gone to see Dave. I've gone to see Bobby. I haven't seen Jimmy, but I'm going to make sure this season I come at least check out a game.
Yeah.
For sure.
6:00 Thursday, we open up.
All right. Maybe I'll be there. Maybe I'll bring the boy.
There you go.
I mean, you haven't met my son, have you? Oh, you're going to love him. My boy.
This just became, I know I was complaining about doing an hour. It went way over, but this just became.
We could talk.
Reminiscing. And that's what I tried to tell you, like, those special groups and special players.
No, you
never
too.
Like we never lost. Like it was a year after you graduated and I was talking to you and that's it.
Yeah, you hold a special place in my heart, man. You really do. I mean, you really do. I mean, that year was a very special year. I mean, it's a huge monumental year in my sports life and career. I love you, man. I really do. I mean, I hope this is like a re-spark of being able to, like time goes.
We always say, hey, let's get lunch, let's do this, and then
4 years later,
and then it's 4 years later, like holy cow.
No, let's make sure. Let's make sure to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, let's make sure to
come
do that.
by New Milford anytime.
I definitely
come watch practice, see what's going on, and
I'd love to.
I'll ask.
I tell Dave, and because I play flag, and we have a lot of back and forth about. I think I found myself after high school and realized what I could have been. Right.
Oh, I know I did.
Yeah.
Because I in high school I was an introverted, quiet kid.
Yeah.
Until like a year later when I started to play baseball at a higher level with older guys that were like, stop acting like that.
Yeah.
Like be funny. Like
yeah.
Whereas like in this day and age, if it was me, like is everything okay with him?
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. I was just quiet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's who I was. But
yeah,
boy, did I come out of my shell later.
You learn it.
And
Life, you, man.
I know we're not going to like talking to Josh, a kid I coach who's now a colleague of mine. And now like he comes in my office and he's like, I can't believe the clown you are. Like, you make me carry bags and run and take my earrings off and do this and do that. And here you are like making all these jokes and like, why don't you? I said, because, that's two worlds. And that's, we all live that. And,
it's true. It's true.
Which is a happy median, but I appreciate you having me. This was more fun than I thought, but probably because we just talked about, that's what
I wanted out of this
that year. Not, I could talk about scouting like it's boring, but to hear what we went through and the fun we had and that.
I've never reminisced it with you. I've never actually sat and talked to you about like we've had our moments and stuff
Wednesday
like that.
Wings at Charlie Brown's,
Wings, dude.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
Drive by there. So
it's crazy, man. I'm happy to see you happy. I'm happy to see you continuing to, make it
another child. Like
it's crazy,
kids,
bro.
You guys are all grown up.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like it's crazy.
Crazy stuff. But again, man, I love you. I'm rooting for you this season.
Too, everything you do.
Yeah. I'll make sure I come to a game and come say hello, and I'll come to a practice. I'd love to. I'd love to sling the rock on your defense. I tell Dave all the time, like, let me come.
You have no shot.
You don't think so?
You wouldn't complete a pass.
You don't think so?
I don't care what 7-on-7 leagues you play in or whatever. You're an old man.
It's happening.
We ain't giving up completions to old men. I can tell you that. A couple good quarterbacks from Heights or something, maybe. But
all right, we'll see.
Old man, you throw the ball twice a game, and I'm going to lose to you. Are you crazy?
I'm going to show you.
Unless you're bringing JT and Al with you,
I'm going to cook it.
You got no shot.
I'm going to cook. You haven't seen me do what I do.
Goodness.
No, I'm going to show you something after this, and you're going to be like, "Wait, what? That's you? Watch." I'll show you.
I saw you in the All-Star game.
No. This
still
is
living on that.
No. You'll see what I do. You'll be shocked. But I love you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Definitely.
See you.
Pleasure.
See you this year for sure.
All right. You're welcome. Too, kid.
Elevation. No more contemplation. No hesitation. This my destination.